In her eyes, she was one of the cleverest humans that ever breathed on the planet Earth. So the detective let her blame others in order to imply she was manipulated.
I was like, listen, I was manipulated, I was used.
The absence of rebuttal on part of the detective made her happy, not knowing this was the perfect bait, as by offering her a way to minimize her guilt, they trick her into admitting involvement indirectly. As the psychological theory of foot-in-the-door technique states, that by getting someone to make a small admission leads them to gradually admit larger truths.
I'm involved in, somebody passing away, somebody being murdered, and me facilitating all of this, but, yeah, I see the role that I play.
But the pertinent questions are, who is this clever lady? What happened on July the 18th, 2014, and how detectives psychologically trap her with a perfect bait. Welcome back to my channel. I don't have many followers, but your single comment is a ray of hope for me. All Dan Markel wanted was to remain close to his children. When he refused to let his ex-wife move them to South Florida, that simple, heartfelt decision ignited deep resentment within her family. What began as a custody dispute slowly twisted into something far more sinister. A cold-blooded murder plot, carefully orchestrated through a web of personal connections and quiet conversations, ultimately ending in tragedy. Basically, it was a heavy, humid morning in Tallahassee on July 18, 2014, when 41-year-old law professor Dan Markel pulled into his driveway after dropping off his children. Moments later, he was ambushed and shot in the head. Dan was the ex-husband of Wendy Adelson, and their bitter custody battle had kept him from allowing Wendy to move the kids to South Florida. Investigators would later discover the murder was a calculated hit, allegedly arranged by Wendy's brother, Charlie Adelson, who was dating Catherine Magbanua. Catherine, caught between two men, Charlie and her ex-boyfriend Sigfrido Garcia, the shooter and father of her children, became the critical link in the murder-for-hire plot. Evidence of calls, cash transfers, and connections unraveled her story. In 2016, upon suspicion, the cops arrested her and brought her in for the interrogation, and today, we will focus on the psychological elements of this interrogation.
Okay. Morning. I guess you knew we were coming. You saw it, Chris. Okay. This is...
Is this a camera?
Yes. Yeah, we're doing it for all of our safety. We don't want it to be alleged that we came in here talking to you, so from the beginning, we're just recording this whole thing with you. So this came back from Chris yesterday. He signed the bottom of it. If you just want to look at it and review it, we'll have you sign it as well.
I think this is the one that Tara just
It's
went over.
yeah, it's the same thing, yeah. So if you just want to sign the bottom of it,
Okay.
the second page.
Today's the 10th or the 11th?
11th. Okay, so here's what I'll tell you. Obviously, things have changed, and we're here without your attorneys, but that's, you guys had the conversations, and we all talked as well. I kind of feel like it's best and easiest to just let you tell us how we got here.
That's the thing, that's how I got to this point.
Well, start at the beginning. You know who we all are anyway,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Okay, well, I guess we can do that. So we got Pat Sanford with the FBI, Sherry Bennett with TPD, and I'm Jason with the State Attorney's Office, which you and I have met a few times. And yeah, if letting you kind of tell us.
Detectives invited Catherine to start from the beginning, tell us how we got here, and kept the conversation open-ended. This tactic creates cognitive load. The more someone talks freely, the harder it becomes to keep lies straight. It also allows detectives to collect small inconsistencies without making the suspect defensive.
How we got here is the best way to start. And we'll ask questions, don't get me wrong, we will ask you stuff, but...
Yeah, this is what I was afraid of, just with everything that's been happening and obviously getting incarcerated, and then it's just I've been like, like with my guard up the whole time, and then like all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to walk into this room, and then it's just like me just talk. Like, I know you think I can't, everything is.
Well, let's start it like this. Okay, how did you meet Charlie? Let's start with that.
I would really dive in really quick. Man, way to break the ice, right? Just before, like, I know, like, obviously, I'm going through 2 trials and everything. Like, what would this be all public now? Like this, or just for protection?
Eventually, it will be. We're doing this because obviously, with the publicity of the trial and the amount of, you guys didn't do this. You guys talked to her before you turned the camera on. We're not gonna. We don't want to have any of those games played. We would rather have everything, recorded and documented, so there isn't. You guys sat down with Katie and told her what she needed to tell you. No.
Okay.
We didn't do that.
Yeah,
So.
it's like my attorneys will have it here, so this
Right.
is like.
Right, exactly. So this is my first time sitting down, talk to you.
Yeah.
So we want everything, recorded. So there's no question about, like it did last time, people were making allegations that we fed people and things like that. We're on the up and up. This is not, this is what it's been the whole
We're
time.
not here
to
trick you, berate you. Like this is different.
I mean, it's gotten to this point, basically.
This is your side of the story.
Yeah.
You tell us the truth of what happened. And
They reassured her, saying this was a clean slate and not about punishment, but understanding her side. This reduces perceived threat and makes the suspect feel emotionally safe. When fear decreases, honesty tends to increase.
I guess
last question before we start,
Yeah. Let's do this. Will you raise your right hand? You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
All right. Now we got that.
Okay.
And all the confusion. Really, it's best to start with, I think, how you met Charlie would be the best way to start. And then we can probably sequentially, work a timeline out from there.
Okay. Well, I was working in Sophie Dental, and then he's like one of the specialists that came in. So then from there, he's, we get the phone numbers from the doctors, from what I remember, and then we put it on our cell phone so that whenever scheduling purposes, we'll, we can contact or text any of the doctors, any of the dentists.
Okay.
So I went through there.
And just started texting, and then.
Yeah.
you started dating, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long did that progression take from the texting to the dating?
Like, how did it evolve? Like, from being a doctor?
Well, this is like all the way from 2013, I believe. So, he was like persistent. He was just persistent about and I told him, I was like, I have kids, like I don't really have time, I don't have a babysitter, I don't have like a chance to just go up and about, like I don't have that type of freedom, so little by little he was just, trying to, come on, let's hang out, and then, one day, I just went over to his house. I don't remember.
Time frame, I guess, would be late 2013, early 2014.
Yeah, that was 2013.
And it kind of grew from there and became more of a dating relationship, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. How long would you say you two dated?
Like I said, I've always said that we never had he's my boyfriend, I'm his girlfriend type thing. Probably from 2013 to 2014, 15. I don't remember.
It was
Because we've stayed friends the whole time.
Okay.
Detectives let her talk with long pauses and minimal interruptions. Silence feels uncomfortable. Suspects often fill that space by rambling, and in doing so, reveal more than they intend.
It's never. Sorry. It's just, it's just I haven't spoken to anybody. You know what I mean?
And that's what we really, I know we're sitting over here on the side and it's intimidating. This is kind of and I'm sure that's not helping the matter.
Yeah.
But just try to talk with us. Just literally just sit there and talk with us.
Blab it out. I mean,
yeah. Maybe we can move it, I don't know, a little closer to the camera for the phone so it's not straight in your face. I don't know. but just try to block it out and just let's talk this through. So you guys started dating. What comes to what comes to your mind? 'Cause what I don't want to do is feed it to you and you reiterate it for us.
Let's just talk about what problems did he talk to you about? Did he talk to you about his problems and issues and what led?
And this is what I was like scared of, like, you know, from the information that I got from the trial, and then obviously, you know, when I go back in my bunk and I'm like trying to think back, like it's like it's all perception. That's why I was like so irritated and frustrated, because as I'm seeing things being revealed, you know, I'm thinking back at the time and I'm just like trying to put things together, like, okay, was this happening when this was happening? And then it's like all getting jumbled in my head.
Okay.
And I don't want to give any.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You're worried about your timelines. You're worried about, don't worry about that.
What?
We convert timelines out. We convert timelines out with some other information that we have throughout this case. There's a lot, like you saw.
They told Catherine not to worry about exact timelines, just to tell them what she remembered from her point of view. This bypasses her hesitation to speak for fear of getting it wrong. It relaxes her defenses and invites a stream of consciousness style of recollection.
Yes.
There's a whole lot of evidence in this case.
Yes.
If you can give us the events that occurred, we can work out the timeline. So if you remember a conversation Charlie having with you, I'll work on the timeline of when that occurred. Tell us what conversation you
I
had.
don't want to say I don't want to say the wrong thing either.
Well, here,
like, I
You
want
can't
to
say the wrong thing.
make sure that I'm, you know.
Just the biggest thing is because you keep thinking about everything you saw in trial. Take that out. We want to go by just by your memory. I know it's hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're going by just your memory. Anything in trial, like he's saying, the timelines, things that we have now, we can see how that fits in and figure that out later. We're going to want to go from your memory and what you were thinking and your experience, your personal experience with this, how it progressed in that stance. Not taking all the stuff that you saw in trial, all the things that now make you think of it differently.
Yeah.
You want to know about how you thought about it at the time that it happened and how it progressed that way in your own experience. Not by all the stuff you saw. So that should make it easier. So just work on that, and then we can worry about the timeline afterwards. Let's just get through your experience of it when it was happening.
If you were telling us the truth and what you remember, Katie, before any of this nonsense,
Yes.
that's all we're looking for.
Okay.
We will ask the questions to clarify things. You tell us what you remember that led up to this situation.
Okay. Okay.
They consistently told her to explain how she felt in the moment, not what she learned later at trial. It isolates her recollection from rationalizations developed over time, forcing her to confront how she was complicit in real time, rather than hindsight.
So basically, I mean, like what led up to the situation, when I was talking to Chris, I was like, just like things that are popping up as it went. And a particular day that I was thinking about was Halloween in Lincoln Road, when he did mention, but I don't want to quote anything and I don't want to say anything wrong, like I said, and I just remember it, like, that's the thing, it's like as he's saying things, and like y'all know that Charlie talks a lot, so he's saying things and it's just we're going in circles. I'm not like invested into the conversation like how he's thinking of the conversation. I'm just like, you know, like going basically with the flow.
So obviously Dan Markell was murdered in July of 2014. And as you saw in trial, Garcia and Rivera made a trip up in June. What can you tell us about that?
That, like, I don't even remember. I mean, I obviously, like you're just telling me to like remember from what I remember, not from what I remember from trial.
Right.
I learned a lot of things from the trial. That's why it's so hard, and I want to say the right, you know, let's say the right thing, but like remember from how I remembered, you know, my days. But like my days are consumed with like taking care of my kids and just, you know, like me going through it was afraid of, like you guys, you know, all heard all the conversations and everything, like just the back and forth.
What led to the two of them making that trip to Tallahassee?
Okay. So when I was, this is like the hard part because that's the part that I've never spoken of.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I just remember, I don't know the specific day, but I do know that Charlie had given a paper in an envelope, but he stuck it inside like I had like a diaper bag that I used to use for Kaylee, but I kind of used it as like a weekender bag, and he put it in there. Now, he's probably been talking about like, oh, like I need somebody to, get beat up or whatever. That's why I'm saying like from him, something happening to her husband to like obviously murder, that's like two different extremes. And
So you're saying leading up to him putting that in the diaper bag, he was talking about wanting to find somebody to beat him up?
like he's, little by little, I think he was feeding stuff in my head that he needed this to be done. But me nonchalantly, like, I was like, okay, like.
They allowed her to blame Charlie Adelson or imply she was manipulated. This is bait. By offering her a way to minimize her guilt, they trick her into admitting involvement indirectly.
I know in hindsight, I should have, like I said, that's why I beat myself up a lot because, I'm like, I was stupid. Like, I wasn't, but that's not what my mind frame was at that time. So it was kind of hard for me, and that's what kind of like I'm kind of scared of because it's like, are they gonna understand this? Because what I was going through a lot, like mentally with Sigfredo too, was a lot of like fighting, and so it's like I found comfort in Charlie because obviously he was the good time and he was the one, that it's like when I'm with him, it wasn't stressful, but it led to my whole life being turned upside down.
Well, let's talk about this real quick. I know you took the stand like we talked about a while ago, and you got on the stand and you said you didn't remember things. Yeah. That's in the past.
Yeah.
We're not worried about what you said on the stand. We're starting clean here. This is a new clean break.
Yeah.
Okay?
I'm sorry.
I know, you're fine. You're fine. Just it's okay.
Relax.
It's okay. Just relax. Yeah, just listen to me. You're already where you are.
Yeah.
Okay? Whatever you tell us now, if you lied about something, if you weren't truthful about something, it doesn't matter at this point. You're not going to get in more trouble for it. Okay?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now's the time to be totally truthful with us. It's just, to come totally clean, tell the whole truth all the way through from the beginning. Because Charlie didn't just slip a letter in without you talking about Sigfredo and getting to that point. That's what we're talking about. Tell us how you got to that point. I understand you're not going to remember time frames and things like that, and Charlie may have done this and done that and kind of led you to that, but how did that happen? What kind of conversations did you have about Sigfredo with him? And how did it lead up to that?
But the whole time, it's like I felt as if Charlie kept planting this seed in my head. Obviously, I don't know if like he knew of Sigfredo, like he probably knew of Sigfredo from what, like me venting and saying like, like he's giving me a hard time, like in that point, but far from like what, I know that he's probably know that he's gotten in trouble like in the past.
Detectives repeatedly ask Catherine to name what was being planned. By making her verbalize what she's implying, they force her out of ambiguity. Once she articulates hurt, beat up, or take care of him, it becomes an official, incriminating statement.
Sigfredo's like since that we've been together, like we, I try to keep him on the narrow and stay away from trouble, and like with like family life. Right. So that's what like this is through time that he's probably just been saying things, and I'm just like agreeing with it. Like again, I beat myself up for it because it's like I wasn't paying attention to like things, like I was being nonchalant about it, and just being like, oh, okay, and then like, kind of just, then when I'm with Sigfredo, I'm like relaying stuff to him, but them really not knowing, like obviously even with conversations, it's like, I never said like, oh, I'm talking to Tuto, or like with him, he doesn't want to hear that I'm talking with Charlie.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, they both know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Or they know.
So what kind of stuff were you relaying?
Right.
Through each other?
Yeah.
That's where it gets a little blurry because that's through time that we're just.
Right. You don't have to say specifics. Just give us a roundabout summary of what the conversations were about. Because I understand you're not going to remember exactly what you said or exactly what they said, but you know the context of the conversation that you had.
That led up to this.
Everything that led up to
Well, like maybe an example. So he stuck this envelope in your bag.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know?
I mean, like it had information about.
But how did you know what to do with it?
because he's been like kind of mentioning, you know, like, oh, I need this, I need somebody to take care of this, and you know, I know like obviously I'm going to Sigfredo about it, but then as I'm relating to Sigfredo, I'm not saying, like I don't really know specifics. That's why.
So what are you relaying to Sigfredo?
Yeah.
You just said, I need someone to take care of this. I know it's hard to talk about, but we know what you're talking about, and we need you to talk about it. It's going to be, I know it's hard to say, what is he saying this is? I need somebody to take care of this. What is this?
Oh, the problem with when these, I mean, like that's, I don't think he ever mentioned about her husband or whatever, but just somebody that's been, like.
I'm fine with you. You're fine with that.
They present her options empathetically, but directly. We know what you're trying to say, but you need to say it. They combine emotional reassurance with subtle pressure. This creates an emotional overload. Guilt, fear, and the need for connection all clash in the suspect's mind. The need for emotional relief pushes her closer to admitting the truth.
That you didn't know that Dan Markel was Wendy's husband.
Yes.
Fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
What did he tell you? What did he say?
Okay.
Move on. We're good with that. Yes. That is totally, I understand that they didn't have the same last name. Well, this husband and wife, you would think.
So what was he telling you exactly?
That he needed somebody to go up to. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
We can understand if you're summarizing.
Right.
You're summarizing. We don't expect you to remember exact conversations, but you know the context, which is the actual meat of what the conversation was about. That's what we need from you.
Okay.
Like the actual topic.
What did he mean? What did he say to you, basically? Just in general.
That he needed somebody to get hurt, but like not to get to that point. From my understanding, was not to get killed, but to maybe like I don't know, if like rough up or beat up or whatever.
Okay.
At that point.
Okay.
So like that's what I'm saying. Like I just little by little, maybe he's like feeding things in my head, but I can't remember those specifics. And
Okay, so then you're relaying now to Sigfredo. So what are you relaying to Sigfredo? And I know you're not saying Charlie wants me, you're just talking to Sigfredo about a friend that has this problem. What's the problem you're telling Sigfredo?
just that.
What
That
is
is
that?
like somebody like I'm sorry, like I just like
I understand what you're trying to
trying
say.
like not.
Right, we know what you're trying to say, but we need you to say it. We can't say it for you.
Here's where I think you are. It's hard for you to say.
Right.
It's more hard for you to say than less of you don't know what to say. I think this is where this agreement that's signed into, this is where you have to clear your conscience. This is where you just say what you're trying to say. Get it out. We can talk about it. We're going to talk to Chris about this. Obviously, there's a lot of conversations to be had after this meeting that we're having today.
A lot of conversation?
Not with you.
Not
with you. No.
Between the prosecutors.
No, between us, and there's just a lot that has to go on after this. So just say it. Just come out with what you're talking. So Charlie's giving you something, and you're giving Garcia something. What is it?
What's the agreement? What was Charlie going to do?
Yeah, like something needed to be taken care of for him.
And
for
what was
for Dan Markel.
Okay. And what was Charlie getting in return? Was he doing anything in return? What was he willing to do?
Well, yeah, like he would have, like the money wise, obviously, like, you know, like they would be, like Charlie's like, oh, they're going to be taken care of. That they're going to be taken care of.
Did he ever give you a number?
What's the number?
No, he didn't give me the number. He didn't give me a specific number for it.
They let Catherine lean into her role as a messenger between Charlie and Garcia, then use that neutral stance against her. By allowing her to place herself in the middle, the detectives later demonstrate that the crime wouldn't have happened without that exact role, making her indispensable to the conspiracy.
You say go do this and I'll take care of you? He didn't say how much or anything?
No, not to me. Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like now, like, you know how you guys were talking about like the $100,000 or whatever, like he never said that amount to me. Like, I just know that they're going to be taken care of. Like, he was assuring me that they're going to be taken care of. Obviously, that's nothing to do, you know, like that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't have those facts for.
How did he know who was going to take care of it or who he needed to take care of?
I mean, I figured he knew that I was like going to go to somebody that I trusted and relay that to Sigfredo.
Okay. So he knew
I just don't, that's what I don't know that if he knew Sigfredo like that.
Did you tell him it was Sigfredo though?
No, I
So
never
you
mentioned
just
that it
never-
was,
Okay.
yeah,
That's fine.
But you told him you would have it taken care of, you used to tell him what it is.
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, we're jumping around.
I know, and
So
Wait,
you,
Well, the problem is
I just don't wanna go the roundabout, like, you know.
we're trying to
like,
get directly to it, and that's what and you can help us with that as well. Just say it. Sometimes just let it go. You know, the envelope that was in the bag. What was it?
I never looked at it. He told me, do not touch it, do not open it. That he had, he would, as time went, like, you know, I think back about the things that he's saying, and then he's like, oh, like, don't, I never keep money in my house. And why is he telling me that? Like, now in my head, I'm like, okay, is he telling me that so that he won't get robbed? Like, he won't turn around and he would, well, yeah, hindsight, like I'm saying, like, I figured this out later on. You know, he did have that safe in his house, but he'd always be like, well, I don't keep money in that, or, I never saw any, you know, like he's opened it before, but I've never like looked inside and see anything inside. When he, on that paper, which I felt like that had all the information, and obviously I had given that to Sigfredo, but when I gave it to Sigfredo, like I never, like it was in my bag, and then I had told Sigfredo like, oh, like the paper's there, like, and he never showed it to me. He took it and then he left. Like,
And this would have been prior to the trip they made up in June.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know who had given me that paper.
Did he? And that's fine.
Yeah.
Did Fredo ever tell you what was written on it?
No.
They keep pulling her back to specific events, Halloween, the envelope, the rental car, grounding her emotionally in those moments. This is a form of anchoring that doesn't aim for exact dates, but rather emotional reimmersion. Once she's back in the memory, emotionally, she starts to reveal more, even unintentionally.
Like, he's telling me things that he did, you know, like, I used gloves, I didn't print it in my computer, like, he's telling me, he's like forewarning me, like, don't even think, like, I guess he didn't think that, you know, like, he didn't want me to, like, obviously blackmail him or something maybe after, or...
At what point did you tell him you had somebody that could take care of this? If he's feeding you this information for him to print this out and take this step, at some point you had to tell him you had someone to take care of it.
what did you tell him to?
That was, like, going back again, that day that he had asked me, in Halloween in the parking lot, I was like, oh, okay. You know, obviously the first thing in my head was like, oh, if somebody need to get beat up, whatever, like, Sigfredo's, you know? Like, that's money for him.
So
What did
Halloween
you
is
tell him?
when you told him.
The one that
You
how
said
did I tell?
How did you tell him that you had somebody? When you said Halloween, is that when you told him that you had somebody that could do it, or?
To Charlie, yes. Yeah, I probably suggested, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I know somebody.
Okay, so you're saying that was at the Halloween thing.
Yes.
Okay, so that's all the way back in October.
It stuck out to
Okay,
me.
that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to get clarification on.
So you told him you had somebody, you just didn't tell him who,
Yes,
and you just left it at that.
yes.
And you didn't ask him how much he could pay, how he could take care of, any of that.
He just he's always told me is like, oh, they'll be taken care of. Didn't give me an amount, didn't tell me.
So what did you
You
tell
know.
Sigfredo to get him to do it?
Like I said, I don't know how I told Sigfredo. I probably told him like, hey, like, you know, you can make some type of money if you take care of this for somebody else. He's like, okay.
But you didn't tell him how much?
I didn't know.
Or never gave you an amount or anything?
No, he
You
just
trusted
always
he would
said,
pay you.
yeah, I guess, stupidly, yeah. I figured
And
they
Sigfredo trusted
can
you
like,
enough.
yeah, like it's, like I said, like you got, like I'm the middle person, obviously I see everything now, like, yeah, like it was going through me, but I know.
It's fine.
You look back now and you feel
I'm like,
used.
that's what I told Tara. I was like, listen, like, I was manipulated, I was used, I was, you know, and it's like, and I feel stupid because it's like, you guys are even like,
keep it out.
I know, like, even through trial, like, you guys, it's like, yeah, and I'm being truthful and that, like, when I see everything, it's like, of course, everybody's just looking at me like I'm a part of this whole thing. And it's hard for me to, like, it took time, like, you guys didn't know what I was going through in jail. You didn't know, even with family-wise, you know, you met my brother. Like, it's, how do you just go about it? Like, okay, I had this whole part in this whole situation, like even conversations with like, that's why I was upset too with the Dolce Vita, because
Detectives constantly reference what they already know from trial testimony, wiretaps, and surveillance, but without revealing specifics. This forces Catherine into a guessing game. She becomes paranoid about what they might reveal next. The fear of getting caught in a lie creates a push toward honesty, or safer half-truths that still incriminate her.
it's, once you see it in a different way, you're just, and then you sit back and you're like, I don't remember, like, a lot of the things my brain has literally, and I wish, like, I wish you guys could just put something in my head and just extract all this information, but I can't time frame, which I know you guys can guide me with, but it's like, don't know what was said, I don't know how it went about, I just know, like, what, you know, certain things, and then from there, like, I'll probably get back in the dorm, and then, I mean, like, when I was in county, and I'll be like, oh my God, like, this happened, or this happened, and then after that, it's like, I push it away, I've suppressed so much of, like, the whole situation, and I don't want to waste everybody's time, I know we've gotten to this
You're
point.
not wasting our time at all.
I want an end to this already, like,
Well, this is a way to the end, but like we said, you gotta be totally honest with us.
yeah,
You gotta be truthful. I mean, that's all we're asking you to do.
Yeah.
To the best of your memory, give us everything you can, you know. I know it's hard to talk about. I know you don't want to admit it.
but there's
little
also,
things.
Some of it's embarrassing.
it's not just, it's not that, it's just my brain, like, I don't know how to explain, my brain has, like, blocked a lot of things. So, I, like, even, like, and then I second guess myself, and I don't, like, the last thing I want is obviously this, I already know how this goes, and I do not want to say something that did not happen, or did not occur, and that's what I'm afraid of. I don't.
Well, that's what we explained to you. We don't expect you to remember exact verbatim conversations, word for word what you said or what someone
Of course,
said. Because
yeah.
you know the context of the conversation, which is like what this conversation was about.
Yeah.
You know what the conversation was about with you and Charlie. You know what the trick or treat thing, the Halloween thing that's when you gave Charlie, after he's been venting to you, you gave him the thumbs up, like, yes, I got someone who can take care of
Well,
this
that's
for
the
you.
first time that he's, like, kind of mentioned something.
He mentioned you trying to get it taken care of.
Yeah.
But he had been telling you and feeding you up to that about how he's frustrated with his sister's stuff.
Well, yeah, like little bits and pieces
Right.
like that. And then that was like something that stuck out. And then from there on, all that time frame, that's why I just don't even know like what happened in between. But like I said, I was living my life as a mother, taking care of my kids.
Right.
Like, yeah, I should have paid attention. You know, you don't think I beat myself up every day thinking about like I should have paid attention. I should have taken this seriously. But in my head at that time, it wasn't like a contract.
You're thinking someone's just gonna get beat up.
Yes, like somebody to get hurt. Obviously, that's like one thing that, okay, you know, Sigfredo like would do. I mean, like we were financially like not, like he was doing his own thing and God knows what, like, I don't know. I don't even know why I went to him. I don't even know why this whole thing like literally like occurred.
Well, let me ask you
It
this.
just snowballed.
So you know it, and obviously the trial came out and it was mentioned I don't know how many times. Charlie made the comment to several people throughout the years that, you know, tried hiring a hitman, but a TV was cheaper.
Yeah.
Had he ever made a comment like that to you?
Has he mentioned that?
Yeah.
About the hit? I don't.
To you specifically? Not that you remember from trial, but did you and he ever have a conversation like that?
About hiring somebody?
Yeah.
Like, maybe he's joked about it? Yeah. I'm
You
pretty sure,
remember
yeah,
that
like
he
he's
did?
joked about it, but it's like we're not even, yeah, I'm pretty sure he's joked about it
As she switches stories, first claiming she didn't know Rivera was involved, then admitting she called him. They let her build contradiction after contradiction without correcting her immediately. She mentally exhausts herself trying to hold two versions of the truth at once. Eventually, that psychological strain leads to leaks, emotional, verbal, or both.
Back when Garcia gave you the money, did he tell you why, or did you know why?
I just knew that he had to take care, he did something that he's getting paid for, like,
And he gave
that's
you
it,
money.
yeah. he didn't tell me like what happened or how he got it.
So you knew that.
I mean, like I got it from me, but you know.
You knew that was your portion of what Charlie put in that.
I mean, Sigfredo just tends to give me, you know, like he even, like if he knows that I was like a stickler about like, you know, like, hey, you have to help me out with the kids or whatever. Like that's why I even put him on child support, because obviously he blew through whatever money he had. I don't know how much money he had.
Mm-hmm.
I know he got, you know, like he just gave me a portion of it, and I don't know if that has something to do with his portion too, but I usually have.
Was there an understanding that you were going to get a portion of it once they take care of this for helping?
Yeah, I mean, he was just gonna pay, like, not like, this is your specific portion, but he's like,
It was understanding you get some.
Yeah.
Right. You didn't know amount.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's an understanding that you were going to get some money once this was completed from what Charlie was paying.
Well, for him to do this, like, it was just, it's so that I can have money. Yeah,
right.
Like, you know.
That's what I wanted to clear up.
Okay.
I just wanted to clear all that up because I know it's all processing in your head, you're going back and forth, so I want to make sure we have it clear as to what your understanding of it was at that moment. Because that's all we're caring about is your
My
perspective, your involvement,
Yeah.
what you saw and experienced during this thing.
What knowledge you have. It's not so much your involvement, because no matter what you did, it's over with for you now. You don't have anything else to get in trouble for. I want you to understand that. I know you don't want the perception, and it's hard to admit that, yes, I did this and it was wrong. It's hard to admit it. And I know that's a problem for you, and you don't want that out there, and this is probably a conversation where if your attorney was here, we would step out and he would have another conversation with you about this, because it's really important that you tell us everything that you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's time now, because nothing worse is going to happen to you. For anything that you know or that you say, nothing worse is going to happen to you.
They start referring to Magbanua's actions with softened language. By framing her crime as something common or forgivable, they encourage disclosure. It shifts her mental state from shame to acceptance, making confession feel survivable.
Let me ask you this. Where are your kids right now?
So with my family.
You're staying with your brother still?
Yeah.
Okay. Has anybody ever threatened you or promised you anything not to testify or not to cooperate in
No.
this?
No.
Nobody's ever,
Nobody's
you're
ever
no
threatened
coercion
me.
whatsoever
Nothing.
of why you didn't want to cooperate early on or
I
anything
mean,
else?
and that's a whole other ballgame of like, you know, why I never even went for it. Like, even from the first day that I had gotten arrested, like with everything being retracted, like we were all so confused. We were like, even when Sigfredo got arrested, and I'm like, I blocked everything off. Everybody's like blowing up my phone trying to tell me like, you know, what happened or whatever, and like that he was involved in all of this. It's like, I just didn't want to hear anything about it. I didn't go out. You think I was there like Googling? Like, I did not want to know. Like, I know I had to take care of my kids, and that's it. And
you
I just
read the probable cause with the attorney early on. So you knew what the facts were of what
What
he was
was
arrested
afraid
for.
of?
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, like I knew the facts from his probable cause.
Right.
I went to go hire his attorney. So it's like his attorney started like advising me, like telling me like, hey, like you might, you know, like need to get your own attorney because you have, you know, like they're saying your name and all this stuff or whatever just to protect myself. And that's when I had hired Tara. Well, I had somebody else and then I hired Tara after.
They bring up her children multiple times and ask where they are now. This tugs at her identity as a mother, someone who should be honest, responsible, and self-sacrificing. It creates moral dissonance between who she wants to be and what she's done.
Okay, well here's what, you ever heard the term minimization? Minimizing someone's role in something? A lot of people have a hard time admitting to what they did and what their role is in something, and it's called minimizing. They minimize their role in it, and I don't want you to do that here,
Yeah.
okay? Because it's only going to hurt you.
I know.
We have a strong case on Charlie. It's stronger than what we had on you.
Yeah.
You know, this is not something that we have to have you or anything. We're hoping you're going to tell us the truth, and we're hoping you're going to come forward and tell us everything.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't want you to minimize this because it's only going to hurt yourself. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I get
But that's why it's like, and I get it, and
because everything you're telling us is how you didn't know this, you weren't aware of this and that.
Because
doesn't
nothing was
matter.
ever like for certain, and that's why I say it in that way. Like this whole thing, the whole time, I was, and I'm not gonna put blame on anybody else or whatever, because I take accountable of like all of this, and that's why I've been fighting. I'm fighting the whole time too, is because it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like if I was to have cooperated from the beginning, that destroys everything, even Sigfredo, even, and I get it, and I get, you guys, everybody's already had this whole perception. I just want a chance to get home to my children. This is why I'm in this situation right now.
Right. And that's what I'm trying to tell you right now, is being totally honest is what can help you.
But
if you're holding back and trying to minimize your loneliness, it's only going to hurt you. Okay? Does that make sense?
I understand that, but I'm not gonna be, but it's to the point too that I'm like, I wasn't for certain with a lot of things. And that's why.
Detectives directly name and confront the tactic. That's called minimizing, and I don't want you to do that here. They refuse to accept vague phrases like, I didn't know for sure, or I was just a middleman. This breaks her rhythm. By labeling her behavior, they force her to self-monitor and stop using vague, safe language. The pressure now demands precise and incriminating language.
I understand you're not certain what was going to happen. You're not certain how they were going to handle it or what the actual planning of any of it was, but it was an understanding. There was some kind of communication, some kind of conversation that happened where it was an understanding to you that Charlie was going to give you money and you were going to have Sigfredo take care of Charlie's problem. That was a certain understanding,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
I understand that you don't remember the exact words of how it was said, but that was an absolute, right?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
knew that he was going to pay you money
Yes, ma'am.
to give to Sigfredo to take care of the problem. You knew that you were going to get a portion of that money for taking care of this problem for Charlie. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's what we're getting. We understand you won't remember exact words and exact conversations, but the actual context, that's what the context means.
Yeah.
Is the actual conversation, the understanding of what is going to occur and how you're going to be compensated for taking care of that issue.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's what we need to get to, is those conversations and how the planning of it and how it came about, and then how once it was taken care of, how the compensation happened and how they knew to compensate at that point. And then
I mean, it was
everything that happened
basically like
afterwards.
an understanding without verbalizing it. That's the part. It's like, okay, like that's gonna happen, and then like again, I just relay, but I can't tell you like specifically. I think it's the sign for me to really not know, and that's the part. Don't you think if I would have known specifics and everything from the day one, I would have been like, hey, you don't want to spend.
But you knew you were going
I know, but I'm saying like, keep me happy.
We only got 45 minutes, so let's talk about things you don't know. Let's try to talk about things that you know that we don't know, that like conversations you had with Charlie after the bump, things like that. Conversations you had over the phone that weren't recorded or through WhatsApp. Did he at some point come to you and tell you to switch over to WhatsApp?
We've used WhatsApp every now and then, so it was never like to just, okay, talk to me through
So y'all been doing
WhatsApp.
it for a while.
Yeah.
Okay. What are some of those conversations you had with him about this, even after the bump? Some things that we don't know about.
Because that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not like, I mean, all that stuff has been recorded, but I never thought, we're not really thinking that it's like we're being recorded at that time. I guess he was thinking that he was being recorded.
Okay, so he was. But that conversation at Dolce Vita,
Yes.
what do you remember about that conversation?
They hammer her with layered timelines, contradictions, and references to prior calls, meetings, and trips, all while pushing her memory to its limit. It overwhelms her. When suspects are emotionally drained and cognitively overloaded, they become more suggestible and are more likely to default to whatever seems easiest to say.
What's something that we don't know about how this all came together? After the bump, after your meetings with Charlie, obviously we have the things that are on the phone calls that you've heard. Everybody's heard hundreds of times, and everybody in this room, I could say, has probably heard them hundreds of times. Obviously, we know that. Outside of that, you guys had outside conversations. Obviously, you're sweating it. You got police, FBI knocking on your doors.
Mm-hmm.
You have people getting arrested now. Your child's father is now arrested and charged with this. I know conversations happened. You guys said, okay, let's not talk on phones anymore. So conversations happened. You guys met in person, had conversations. What were those conversations like?
With Sigfredo?
With
Or
both.
with both?
Sigfredo and with Charlie.
But really, everything was kind of like on the phone too, like not just separate, because obviously we were still talking on the phone. I wasn't under the impression. Charlie's always been the one who's been paranoid about it. Charlie and Sigfredo's paranoid about it. Apparently I'm the only one who was like okay with talking on the phone because it wasn't really hiding anything. Like, yeah, like I knew about it, but I wasn't like saying, you know, like.
I'm talking about after the phone. Charlie calls you, tells you don't talk on your phones, our phones are tapped. You guys get off the phone. Sigfredo goes out and buys you and him burner phones. Okay? When that happens, you and Charlie have other conversations where you meet in person. Y'all have other conversations through WhatsApp. What are those conversations like?
With the WhatsApp, it's just where we were gonna like meet up.
That was your location to meet up. Okay,
Yeah.
when you met up, what were those conversations like?
Okay, when we went to the icon, that was the conversation about like the whole bump.
Okay.
And then that's what I told you, like I had seen his parents, but it wasn't to meet his parents. But I'm just, like I've never, like even spoken to his mom or anything about any of this. Obviously my opinions on what everything now is different, and yeah, like she like knew everything, or like him and Charlie were always talking about it, because why else would you always walk away? But if you're gonna involve me in this, and why was he always walking away? Because he was like protecting his mom.
Right.
The whole time.
Absolutely. But what was his conversations like with you about that? Okay.
They tell her, "We already have a strong case. We don't need you to get Charlie. We've seen the trials hundreds of times. This makes resistance feel pointless. It flips the power dynamic. Catherine realizes she isn't in control, and her only remaining value is honesty."
Okay, we talked about the bump. He told you you were approached. Y'all had other conversations, okay? They approached the bump. You tried to call the phone number and you couldn't get through. I'm sure you went back and had that conversation with Charlie. What were those conversations like?
It was all on the phone. I mean, it was all part of the recorded phone calls.
But after those phone calls, he specifically calls you, tells you, we cannot talk on the phones. Hang up your phone. We can't talk on the phone or our phones are tapped. You guys stop talking and communicating on the phone at that point.
And never spoke on the phone again after.
You talk with WhatsApp.
Through WhatsApp you did.
WhatsApp.
And you said through WhatsApp it's only
Oh, yeah.
locations to meet up. So we know y'all met up. We know
Yeah.
there was other conversation because there was a,
He
y'all
never
weren't
said,
arrested right away.
yeah, but he never said anything on WhatsApp either, like no specifics.
What
or,
about
like,
your
conversations.
in-person conversations? You met him in person. What kind of conversations did you have in person with him? After that, after you stopped talking on the phone, now you're probably freaking out. Shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah.
People are being arrested. FBI's knocking on your door. This ain't flying under the radar. It's 2 years later. You thought you got away with it. Now you didn't. Now you're sweating. What are those conversations like?
I can't remember what.
You can't remember any of the conversations that we don't already know about that's already been in trial.
Yeah, no, I can't remember any of the conversations we had after.
Okay, those are the kind of conversations that are going to help you, because what you're giving us is stuff we already know.
Yeah.
Stuff that we're already aware of, stuff that we already have, stuff that we already have a really good case.
Yeah.
You're wanting help. Those are the conversations you need to remember, the things that we don't know, the things that we did not get on recordings, the things that we were not a part of, the things that we did not have any kind of information about. Those are the things that you need to remember.
Those are the conversations I can't even remember right now. Like, I don't.
But you've had years to think about this stuff.
I
This isn't
think
like today.
that's-
This isn't like we're coming up with new questions today. You've been thinking about this case for years while you're sitting in jail.
But that's the thing. I don't think about this case like sitting in the jail. Yeah, like there's.
You don't think about
You've
it
had
because you don't see your
trial
children
prep. You've had 2 different
for the
trial
rest of their
preps.
lives? You don't think about that? This,
Yes,
this
I
case
do.
is what caused that.
Katie, if
I
you
know,
want,
I
if you
know.
want,
They confront her memory fog. By showing what she can remember versus what she claims she can't, they expose selective memory, a major red flag that implies guilt.
I know.
if you don't spend the rest of your life in prison, you're gonna have
And
a real
believe me,
comfort
I don't.
conversation with yourself and your attorney, something, because you're not there. These are conversations where an attorney usually asks us to leave the room so they can talk to you and say, look, you've got to come straight forward. You can't be half partial truth and half partial deflecting the blame on everybody else that I didn't really know, but I should have. There are things there that you knew. I'm not saying you know everything, but there's things in there that you knew, and what you're telling us just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't.
Well, it doesn't make sense. It's like
all of it.
The fact that you don't remember any conversation about the most probably one of the most stressful times of your life.
That's why it's,
Okay.
I can't.
No. You remember those conversations. Those conversations are things that stick in your head. Those are the times you can suppress. You can suppress things as it goes on and you're trying to focus on your trial. You know, you're only giving us what we already know. You're only giving us the things that we already knew happened. You're not giving us anything else. And those are the conversations that you know, because that's the most stressful time of your life. You're going around, your baby daddy's just been arrested for this murder that you helped facilitate, that did not happen without you. Okay, so you know those conversations. Those are the ones that you need to sit back and think about and try to remember, because those are the ones that we don't know. Those are the ones that are going to help you.
Detectives flood Catherine with details from her own life: stress, arrests, meetings, calls, and timing. They then ask her to explain how she remembers none of it. This overloads her false narrative. She's being asked to account for emotionally charged, unforgettable events, but her answers remain vague. That contrast breaks down credibility.
Me going to Sigfredo about it, I would think that Sigfredo would go to somebody else about it, and the whole time I'm just relaying it to Sigfredo, but wouldn't be stupid enough for him to really be the one who's doing it. Does that make sense? No?
Yeah. You thought Sigfredo would be the one in the process.
In the process, yeah,
To be able to
like,
get someone to take care of it for you.
yes, basically.
Okay, so
Not
you
never
with him
really
knowing that
him.
he has those connections, that he could have got somebody to do it.
Yeah, not him doing anything.
But then he got paid, and he's giving you money, and you're giving him
I
money.
mean, but that has nothing to do with me. He could pay off somebody else. That's
And then
him getting
gave
paid.
you money, and then you met out outside of Lewis's house. So obviously at that point you knew Lewis was involved. He was involved. I think if I'm remembering correctly, these guys can correct me. You've said it before. Like Lewis and Sigfredo they're like this. They're always together, always doing things together. So why would you think one would do something without the other if that's how they are?
I mean, they hang out with a whole bunch of guys too.
Right,
But I
also-
also think that
A whole bunch of guys wasn't at Lewis's house.
Did Sigfredo make another trip up here?
so confusing, huh?
Did Sigfredo make a third trip? Do you know if he made one before the June? Did he come up before June?
Not that I can recall, but probably. I don't know how many. He never told me when he would go out of town.
Did you ever
That was
have
the
to
thing,
go-
being
Did you
out of
ever have to
town.
go get more money from Charlie prior to the murder?
I did lie about one time to Charlie. I was with Sigfredo. Me and him got back together,
Yeah.
and then that's now that you said out of town, it was always out of town. So then that gave me an assumption that it wasn't in Miami. Like I have to get out of town. Anything he was gonna do, any type of business or whatever, it's like he's going out of town.
So what'd you
That's-
lie about?
Oh, I lied to Charlie about needing money for when
this.
but we ended up taking the kids out, like staying somewhere else, and then that was
So you lied
besides
that
that.
he made money for this, but it was actually for you guys to go on vacation or whatever.
Yeah, like we just like stayed somewhere, like rented a hotel or whatever, like with the kids.
Okay.
So it was never like a trip.
But did you ever get money from him on a different time?
This is from Sigfredo?
No, from Charlie.
Charlie for
another trip, like April or May or anything like that.
Because Freddie ever need money
right now.
to do any kind of other stuff other than the June trip and then the murder. Was there any other time that you asked for money for him to do whatever preparations he needed to?
Yeah.
So,
No, I don't know. I'm not certain.
They repeatedly bring up her children, her imprisonment, her regrets, and her emotional pain, then pair these with questions about what she knew. They anchor her emotional state to her current reality. This makes it harder for her to separate herself mentally from the crime and maintain psychological distance.
that's what they're asking us. Any other time that he needed money for preparation?
I'm thinking in my head that maybe it has happened, but I'm not for certain, so I don't want to say. Yeah, because Sigfredo has mentioned, times like, hey, I'm gonna need money. I need, to get out of town. Like he'd always just say, get out of town. Like when he said that, like that just triggered like
This is what
like
it's for.
something that he would say, out of town. I'm like, oh, okay, and then I just relay it back. So it might have happened where there's another time before that.
Okay.
But I'm just not certain. I know I lied about that one time about him going out of town, but it wasn't really for that. Like we ended up going out with the kids and just used that money to go out with the kids. So, I'm so, I like,
You're fine.
it's not that, it's just that I wanna get to the bottom of this too.
Here's
and
the
it's
thing, like you said, okay, so before you were in county, you were worried about, like, if you were, it's something you remember, you get back and you remember, and you'd be afraid to write it down because people will steal it, because you're worried about it hindering your case. Okay, your case is how it is now.
Yeah.
With you here, and after talking to us, if something comes to your mind, whatever, I think you guys you get stationery and stuff in there, start writing it down. Reach back out to your attorney or whichever.
Talk to
That's
Chris.
why I just don't ever think that there was,
Because you're gonna have a lot of time to think, like, you're gonna
but
be
it's like, I know you guys are kind of getting frustrated about the whole situation of like conversations that like occurred. There was nothing that like really stuck out that like, why would, for that, we wouldn't have never spoken on the phone to begin with. A lot of the conversation was already on the phone, so obviously I was free to want to talk about all of this stuff on the phone because I wasn't really in fear of something happening. I'm feeding off of both of them freaking out, and I'm trying to figure it out with them, but they're not telling me the facts. And this is why the whole thing of like me cooperating and stuff from the beginning, but I don't really have all the facts. Like right now, I'm back in square one. I don't have the specific facts, but from what I just relayed, and now
That's
saying
not
that
from
there's-
from beginning to end of all this. Anything that you think of or you remember is what I'm talking about. Anything that's gonna come to mind that you didn't think of, because you said you suppressed a lot of it. And then you'd go back and then you're thinking like, oh yeah, this happened, oh yeah, that happened, and you forget it again when it's time to come back up.
Detectives anticipate her next deflection, then cut it off mid-sentence. Don't say it wasn't memorable. You don't forget conversations like this. This undercuts her ability to continue her usual script. By predicting her response, they show control and expose patterns in her lies. She's forced to pivot without preparation, often stumbling into contradiction.
Those are the thoughts that I'm talking about to write down and kind of
Okay.
keep note of, because those are things you don't want to risk forgetting them again, and now you remember them. And those are the things you need to reach out to Chris and when you have those, so
Okay.
that way you can, because if it's something that we don't know, something that hasn't already been out here, something we haven't already discussed with you, or has been brought up in trial that you know that we have, you've seen everything we've got. Okay.
We're gonna leave here and think of questions we forgot to ask. Sure, it's inevitable. It's gonna happen to all of us, so.
Yeah, and I had a whole bunch of questions that I wanted to ask you guys too, specifically with the whole thing too, like, with, like, I have a lot of questions about Sigfredo, but obviously nobody's spoken to Sigfredo. I wish I would have just asked these questions, believe me, I'm the one who's, at the end of the day, where it's like, if I would have just asked questions, or if I would have just been more, you know, like, instead of like bullshitting about it around that time, you know, like I wasn't taking, like, and that's what I'm telling you, like, I'm looking at it back now, like, yeah, I feel stupid because the whole time I'm like not asking the same questions, and I'm in this, but I'm not really taking it seriously. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay, like, and it's not something that shouldn't have been taken seriously. Like, this is, obviously, it led up to this situation right now, but these are things that, like, I want you guys to go up to Sigfredo and ask these questions. Those are the stuff that only he can answer. And then why he was saying the things that he said. Yeah, I still talk to his mom every now and then. No, but that's the thing. It's like I try to relay, like, you know, I can't have a conversation with him. Is that like not allowed? I don't know how we're
That's a sticky wicket. We'll have to look at that. I don't know how we would accomplish that. I know the prisons don't allow you to contact.
I know, like, not to have
Yeah.
prison, but in this situation, like, we have children together.
I don't know.
have communication with him. Like, I don't really have that direct communication. I'm having a hard time with my mother-in-law because of the fact that it's like my family's trying to protect my children, and that's my number one priority, is the protection of my children. So they're not really comfortable with, you know, the whole thing with Sigfredo's mom.
Oh,
Let
she's
alone
trying
with
to see.
Sigfredo. I mean, yeah, but she lives in California now. Yeah,
Instead of blaming her directly, they talk as though she's the one asking questions. If you had just asked questions back then, maybe this wouldn't have happened. They flip the burden of guilt onto her lack of curiosity. It bypasses her defenses. Rather than confront her with guilt, they induce regret, which is easier for her to admit, and slowly builds into accountability.
This is caused a lot.
So it's making her
Issues.
kind of not want to talk and have conversations with you because she can't see.
I mean, it's just very hard because then it's like I'm, again, in the middle because it's like I want my children to have their grandparent, but it's like at the same time, I'm getting frustrated because it's like, I don't want this ongoing thing and anything to mess this whole situation up where I don't know how much more screwed I could get, but it's, you know, like I just didn't want anything to hinder that. And like I said, I know you guys perceive it in all these different ways, and it's like, I can't even tell just from your, I'm frustrated with myself. I see the frustration, and I've been through, and I'm not a complainer. I don't want to complain like, oh my God, I've been through all of it. Yes, it's been hell in here, and I've had to put away a lot of things, and it's like, yeah, I suppress all of those feelings, and I want to help. Like, yes, I want an end to this whole situation, but there's a lot of questions that I really cannot answer. And it's from what I remember, you know, granted, if I go back in the dorm and I think back about all this conversation, things stick out. Obviously, I'm going to have that legal call with Tara and Chris.
That's probably a better idea than writing it down.
Yeah, just call them when you think about it, call your lawyers.
And tell them, write this down for me.
Yeah.
Do something, document.
Something to remember it.
Because obviously those calls are not recorded and nobody monitors that stuff.
And if from the beginning, I never felt, you know, like I was approached in a way where it's like I should have, you know, like this could have all happened. If I was in the beginning saying the same thing that I'm telling you now, you probably would have reacted the same way. Like, well, what were those conversations? Well, it's not sticking out to me because it was never anything. Why would I have to talk outside? Like I said, like everything was on the phone calls. Yeah, if you told me to meet or whatever, Charlie just says the same thing all over again of everything he's already probably said on the phone call. It was nothing
At what point
separate.
did anybody know that murder was supposed to happen?
And that's the part that I was telling Chris. I don't know when it transitioned from that to like me really finding out that this was, okay, it was a murder that was supposed to be done.
They make it clear she's already taken a fall. Whether she talks or not, she's in prison. This removes the perceived reward of staying silent. If she's already at rock bottom, speaking up has no additional cost and may offer some control back.
So you don't know when that happened or how that happened?
Yeah, like when it transitioned from like, okay, that's what needs to be done. I don't know if I'm just like, it's hard obviously to be like, I'm involved in, you know, somebody passing away, somebody being murdered and me facilitating all of this. But, you know, like, yeah, I see the role that I played. I see me ping ponging from both parties and stuff, and I see it. So yeah,
do you remember Charlie asking you that it needed to transition to that, like verbally? Was it how did that occur? It went over the phone, was it? Or was it in person? How did Charlie present that to you?
I don't know. Like I said, this is like through time of him really like getting in my head and just telling that this needs to be done, but not like, oh, like he needs to be killed or whatever. So
how did you tell Sigfredo that? How did you transition it to Sigfredo?
That's why I think that paper had all the information. Therefore, I never went back and forth to even go and ask Charlie this question or ask Sigfredo that question. This is like I'm thinking all the paper had directions of who the person was, what needed to happen. And that's that paper that I wish I had. And you're saying that he was trying to show me that he had never
I didn't say he tried to show you. I said he had it with you. Did he show it?
No, he's never showed. Yeah, he's never showed it to me. Even in the car, nothing. This is the point that I would be like, yeah, he showed me that paper. Like, what do I've got to lose? There's not something that I would want to keep.
That's pretty well. You said early on that you did, but it's a pretty significant event.
That he didn't.
Right,
show
I'm saying,
me
yeah. It's a pretty significant event for somebody to go from beating somebody up to murdering, and you don't remember any of that transition process. It's just not coming up in your head.
Specifics, yeah, like I don't. Like,
I mean, it doesn't have to be exact
I know I'm
specifics.
not, yeah, but that's what I was trying to tell with Chris as well. Like, when did it get from point A to point B to this point, and then now that whole part is just like.
They mentioned that in high-profile cases like hers, other inmates might use anything she says against her if they find out first. They plant the idea that staying silent is unsafe. If she doesn't control her story, someone else might, and that could hurt her more.
And it's like, it's a blur to me, but I don't know when Charlie said those specific words, or even
You know
it
for
coming
sure
off
that it
of-
was said, you just can't remember when. No.
I don't know.
And you can't remember how you talked to Sigfredo about it at all. How you went to Sigfredo and say, this needs to be a murder, not.
But that's what I'm saying, like, he knew probably what it was for, and obviously Charlie knew. But I was never in the know, because I think from that paper, from the beginning, it was already said there.
You think
But
you have
they're not
instructions in
telling
the
me
paper. Okay.
anything. Therefore, I don't know when it transpired. And
So you're thinking that the instructions, everything was in the paper, all the communication that, you just knew that Charlie wanted someone taken care of, your understanding was he wanted someone beat up, you told him you
not
had
even
somebody,
me, yeah, like,
or hurt. Somebody hurt.
That's a really significant ask to put on a piece of paper for you to give to somebody that he doesn't even know.
I
who
don't
that
even know
is.
why the hell Charlie ever even came up to me. I think about that all the time. Like, who comes up to somebody that they just met? It's like, how much does he know? Did he know who Sigfredo
Did
really
you not
was?
tell him about Sigfredo?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that he was, you know, like every time that.
Did you vent to him about your ex, about your baby daddy, about his
I'm pretty sure
history he has?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've mentioned stuff like that, and that's when I feel like he knew more.
Yeah.
You're keep going. You're fine.
I feel like he knew more than what he led me to know. He did, you know, like he knew.
You felt like he knew that you had that connection, that's why he kept talking.
Why did he come up to me? You don't think I asked my question of other people? I would have just come up to you and just met you.
Right.
And somebody that you're dating, why? But then now I
So you think it was a calculated thing for him, in your mind?
I feel like
Your-
everything has been calculated with
You think everything with
Charlie.
him, the reason he started dropping those hints to you and bringing that up to you is because he knew that you had the connections to the
And
gap.
he knew he knew who I was with, and maybe who he hung out. Like, I don't know. I don't know to what extent.
Obviously, I know you don't know for sure, but that's to your mind. You're thinking
Yeah,
that
yeah.
that's why he came to you. That's why he came to you, because he knew you had that connection with Sigfredo and the kind of people that
It
Sigfredo
just doesn't
was.
make sense. Like, that's the part that doesn't make sense. How do you feel so comfortable? Like, you would never feel. And then that was like,
Did you do anything to make him feel comfortable with it? Other than you, I mean, obviously you told him you had somebody.
They keep repeating one point. She's suppressing the truth, not forgetting it. This invalidates her "I don't remember" defense and suggests that any future memory recall will further incriminate her. It reframes silence as both dishonest and dangerous.
What makes sense is you telling him who
That's why
Sigfredo is.
he
He's
had
always
been-
telling him you have somebody that can do this and him trusting in you.
it's like he
That's why he
trusted.
trusts in you, because he trusts you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay if you told him about somebody, or you told him you had somebody that could do this, or you told him it's okay. You're not going to
No, I
get in trouble.
did. That is what I did. Okay, yeah, I have somebody for you. That's what was the conversation in the car, but like it never even really went. Like, I think it was a while before.
Well, yeah, October, so the
Time.
Halloween thing is when you said that's the part you remember when you told him you had
Yeah, it was like a while for
And then
him to even
a couple
like
months.
something. For anything to even happen. But I'm saying, like, even the initial thing. Why is it?
Where
that
he
I was
initially brought it
approached,
up to you.
And why is it that me? And why would you trust me? I could have easily from the get
Mhm.
been like, this guy's crazy. He's trying to make me, like, get somebody else hurt. And it's like I could have flipped on him.
Right. Was it something
And
you had been
quickness.
saying to him? You've been talking to Fredo up, or talking about some of your past?
It
talking about
was
some
too
of your
early
people?
on. All I could remember, all I could think that I would have told him is that, like, you know how the stuff that I was going through was Fredo as far as like relationship wise.
You'd be venting about him,
Yeah.
about all the frustrations you have, him not having money, him doing drugs, him.
It was a lot of things now that I think about it with the money situation. He knows that we were struggling. He knew that like obviously
And he's
that
throwing it
Sigfredo
around
has
and
no
spoiling you.
job.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying that Sigfredo has no job. I'm having a hard time. This is why I'm picking up jobs here, there, whatever, and then working in the office. But a part of that is because he knew financially, like, I'm a single mom. I've been with Sigfredo for a long time. Like, I've been with him since I was 18 years old. So it's just like, it's our relationship has taken a change since we moved back down to Miami, obviously after having 2 kids and stuff. And it was like, it got to the point where I got frustrated and that was over. But then I still kept up and I still, like, you know, like, he was still in my life.
Obviously, he's following your
But I
children.
think about it all the time. It's like he has to have known way more than he's presuming. If he's trusting me enough to even think this, and then I'm relaying it to Sigfredo, obviously Sigfredo's gonna trust me, but then
There's obviously some trust there because you did it. It happened. You didn't tell anybody. You guys thought you got away with it for a couple of years. So obviously the trust was there. The trust was built there for it. So the trust is there. Somehow there was something done to make him trust you for that. And obviously he trusted you because you did it. You didn't call the police to set him up. You didn't call to report that this guy's trying to harm somebody, trying to get me to hire someone.
They challenge the way she sees herself, implying she must have done something to earn Charlie's trust in such a serious matter. This tactic pressures her sense of self. It's no longer about what she did. It's about who she is. If she continues to deny involvement, she must also explain how she ended up in the center of a murder plot by accident.
We've worked cases many times before where they have called, like, hey, this person's a little crazy. I think they're actually going to do it. You might want to get on this, and we've done it. So there's that trust is there.
I already involved Sigfredo, like.
Yeah, but you put trust in. You told Charlie that you had somebody to do it. Somehow you did something to make him trust you to be able to have you do this.
Remember any of those conversations?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know why he would have trusted me. That's why I feel. Do you think that he's?
I feel like, yeah, there's got to be something when you guys were talking about some topics you were on. Somehow, something with your connection that you guys had during you said y'all just met because y'all just started talking when he started dropping these hints. Obviously,
but
something in your interactions has made him want to trust you.
Okay, but him commenting that wasn't it from the past before about him hiring like him, and wasn't that a joke, an ongoing joke he's had from before? So what, does he just go to different people at a time and ask them these things? Like that's the. Because he said this comment before he ever even knew of me or
right.
Me.
So he said this comment before to other people, all these other things. The only time it actually took captive, he's been looking, and then it took him finding you.
Conversation go with you that came around. That's the conversations over time that is helpful to us. Is she ready for her?
Yeah, you gotta read.
You got anything specific?
Just get up and let her know. Think. Breathe.
Talk to your attorneys.
Okay.
Think about the things that we've asked you, like the specific time frames and like all the stuff that we don't have on recording. That's what we're wanting.
They shift the emotional consequence away from Charlie and towards Sigfredo, the father of her children. By linking her silence to hurting someone she cares about, they make the emotional cost of denial greater than the cost of honesty.
Believe me, I'm gonna have to.
That's the stuff you just need to think about and reach out to your attorneys.
You have said some things. You have answered some questions. It hasn't been completely useless. So there's, and some of it is, I understand the context of a lot of it, and they do as well.
I mean, but like the whole time
But I'll tell you, the three of us have done a lot of these.
Yeah.
And there's times where what I really think you're struggling with is just saying it. Is just saying, and you'll say, yeah, I was stupid, yeah, I did this, or yeah, but just to say, this is the part that I did, and this is when I did this, and this, that's where you're struggling. And take time. Don't let us put it in your mouth. Alright?
That's what we don't want. We want it to come straight from you.
Yeah. Obviously, I get that.
And maybe, I don't know if we come back down here, I don't know where they're going to put you, I don't know if we end up bringing you back to Tallahassee, but eventually I'm sure we'll sit down again.
Okay, so in his trial, like, would that be, like...
Yeah, you're going to have to come.
Like, I'd be called again for...
Yeah.
You would, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my
And
God.
how does that work? Because I've always said in the, even with my testimony, but like that... Like, how does that...
Just tell the truth. Hey, I lied before.
They reinforce how much she has already lost: her freedom, her reputation, her family's resources. By removing all remaining psychological rewards for staying quiet, they create a mental collapse. There's nothing left to protect, so confession becomes the only path to regain control.
I was trying to protect myself.
You saw exactly what your attorneys did to Lewis. You can prepare yourself.
I can't.
It is, But it's going to be similar. You're going to be treated very similar to what your attorney did with Lewis. I mean, they are going to try to tear you apart. That's what they're going to do with everything that you say.
The important thing is, if you're telling the truth, then you won't have a problem with questions. Does that make sense? If you're lying about something, somebody asks you something,
Yeah.
you can get tripped up easily because you're lying about it. But if you're telling the truth about what really happened, that truth will stick to your memory and you'll be fine.
And the whole thing too, it's like, you guys keep saying like that I have like a pot of gold, and do you guys not, you guys have heard my conversation, see my commentary, like there's no, like I could have flipped on Charlie from the beginning, and it's like he's not supporting anything.
Then why didn't you flip on him from the beginning?
Because the whole point of it too is for Sigfredo. I don't know why, in my assumption, like I said, like I was never approached in that way. Like I never.
You mean like a tooth reveal, like
not like even a deal like that, but it's just like I just never felt like shouldn't be, and nobody's ever gonna feel comfortable about it. But it's like to even be to the point where it's like these are like the answers that I had.
Were you trying to like also like not want to do anything that would hurt
Sigfredo's, of course.
So that's kind of the reason why you didn't, is because you didn't want to really hurt him too.
Yeah, he was in his feeling. I would have done it right there, right after my mistrial.
Right. So you would have, had you come forward, any information you gave obviously would have hurt Sigfredo. And that's what I wanted to speak. So it was nothing to protect Charlie.
Nothing to, never.
No, it was just to protect Sigfredo, because you knew that what you're telling us here and what we know would be detrimental to Sigfredo.
Exactly.
They warn her about future testimony. This makes her future feel risky unless she tells the truth now. It turns the interview into a rehearsal for survival, where telling the truth is her best legal defense.
Okay, so
I had my mistrial, and then he was going to be, for my assumption, was going to be an appeal. So, like, for me to even, like, I wanted to speak to him because it's like, this is the time now, an opportunity for us to finally get this over with. I didn't want to go back to trial. I didn't want to do that all over again. This is not just a trial where it's like, I'm not on the media. Like I was a constant conversation in that jail. Mm-hmm. And it's like, even leading up to that trial, like, you saw how it was. By that trial, I was done. I was deflated. I was tired.
Right.
I was in confinement, in and out, red and whites, and putting in suicide watch. Like I was going through it.
Yeah.
In jail before I was even going to before the trial even started. I was exhausted already. I wanted it to be over with. That's why I was like, you heard my conversation with Sigfredo. I don't know. That was one of, like, I was begging. I was like what? Like what? Like why? Like why are we? Like why I don't want to go to trial? Like that's it. Let's talk. Like. I say what I know, you say what you know, and like this is way more than, like this is nothing protecting Charlie or whatever. I'm clearly not getting any type of money. Like my family's tapped out with everything. That's another thing too with the attorney.
They remind her she's already broken down, mentioning isolation, suicide watch, red and whites, and her physical and emotional collapse before trial. They use her own fatigue against her, implying she has nothing left to fight with. This removes any last resistance based on pride, ego, or fear of shame.
My family isn't that because of me having to go to trial again. And yet people didn't want to let that go. It was like, that he's still a part of it. And I get it. It's like the story and the...
How did you get the cost? How did you first get the cost?
The cost of what?
The cost.
Chris.
How did you get Chris as an attorney?
Tara and Chris came to me that the first time that I met him through, that day that I was in Broward.
How did they come to you? Why did they come to you? Because of Charlie, right?
No.
How did they come to you? Yeah.
No, Tara's always done cases with Chris. And
so did you hire Tara before that?
I hired.
How did you get Tara? Like, how did you know to hire Tara? Like, did someone refer her to you, or what?
I don't even remember how I got Tara.
Don't you know Charlie's attorney is in the same office?
I knew that. No, that Chris was in the same office. Yeah, he told me that after, but I didn't know that he was in that same office. I didn't know that, no. Yeah.
All right. Think hard.
My attorney was Tara, and then she brought Chris. Yes.
Okay.
Think hard about everything. Talk to your attorneys, or your attorney, whichever one you're talking to.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I don't know what it's gonna be, like, this is the R&O process over here, so I don't even know if I'm gonna be.
Yeah, we don't know where you're
Yeah, you may find out.
Yeah.
Find
I don't know,
out.
you got 3 other places you can end up, so,
Yeah, but they gotta get you out.
yeah, don't want to get us in trouble too.
Okay.
Alright.
They float the idea that maybe Catherine was manipulated from start. It gives her a safe exit. She can admit the truth without calling herself evil, just used. It provides psychological permission to confess, without full moral accountability. Throughout the full course of Catherine Magbanua's interrogation, detectives methodically chipped away at her denials by targeting emotional pressure points, exposing inconsistencies, and highlighting the implausibility of her ignorance. They succeeded in getting her to admit that she knew Charlie Adelson wanted someone hurt, and that she was the one who offered a connection, Sigfrido Garcia. Though she tried to downplay her awareness, detectives locked her into a narrative where she became the crucial middle link in the murder-for-hire chain. By the end, she indirectly confirmed her role in facilitating contact, establishing motive, and maintaining silence afterward, key elements that prosecutors would use to prove conspiracy and active participation in the murder.
That's it from Ms. McDonald, Judge. And I
All right.
appreciate the time, and I also wanted me to thank the court. She didn't get an opportunity to do that at the end of the trial. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Kawaz. Okay, I did have the score sheet here that I mentioned before, and the lowest permissible sentence on the counts 2 and 3 would be 172.50 months on those, and then the statutory maximum, as we've mentioned, is 30 years. Ms. Kappelman, would you mind going up and can you move that podium, because I can't see you behind that at this point. So if you can move it one way or the other so that I can see you sitting at the table. Great, thank you very much.
Catherine Magbanua was sentenced on July 29, 2022, after being found guilty of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and solicitation to commit murder in the 2014 murder-for-hire plot that killed Florida State University law professor Dan Markell. The judge sentenced her to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder charge, plus 2 additional 30-year sentences for conspiracy and solicitation, to be served consecutively.
All right, the state's ready to proceed to sentencing in the state of Florida versus Catherine Magbanua, 2016 CF 3036 and 2018 CF 497. Ms. Magbanua is present here in the courtroom along with her counsel. On count 1, which is the count of first-degree murder, you have been found guilty by a jury. You will be adjudicated guilty, and you will be sentenced to life in prison with no eligibility for probation or parole. On count 2, which is the conspiracy to commit murder, you have been found guilty by a jury. You will be adjudicated guilty, and you will be sentenced to a consecutive sentence of 30 years in the Department of Corrections. On count 3, the solicitation to commit murder, you have been found guilty by a jury of that count. You are adjudicated guilty, and you will be sentenced to a consecutive sentence of 30 years in the Department of Corrections. You have credit for time served of 2,119 days. Your court costs are $2,625 and $100 cost of prosecution, and those will be civil judged. You have 30 days to file a notice of appeal, and if you cannot afford counsel, then one would be appointed for you.
This ensured that she would spend the rest of her life behind bars. Prosecutors argued that she played a key role in connecting the hitmen, including her ex-boyfriend Sigfrido Garcia, with her then-boyfriend Charlie Adelson. Magbanua's appeal was later denied, affirming the court's decision and closing the door on early release.